Hey pullers, please accept my apologies for the delay in the latest OPAR ranking update, but we got a ton to go over, so let's get to it. Okay, so we're going to start off with the classes that have been changed. We can see the men's right 176, 98, 220, as well as both right and left for the 242 and the supers. Starting with the 76 right, most of the changes we're going to see today came from this recent Kentucky Muscle Tournament. Here we see two of the top pullers going at it. Josh Koenig hanging on to the deadly hits and hook by Chris Mowry. Josh had a double foul going into this particular pull, and Mowry just, capitalized on that opportunity and ended up defeating Josh to move on to the top four in the Kentucky Muscle that day. So in light of those matchups, Chris Mowry is now crowned the top 176 pounder in the state of Ohio. I'm sure I speak for all of us when I say that I still need to see him and Josh pull in a super match. Hopefully, sooner than later, they can make that happen. In the 198, another elite-level puller has joined amongst the ranks. A longtime veteran, Rod Mobley, managed to cut down to the 98 class, and just as I suspected, he would dominate just as he did in the 220s. He displayed a lot of grit and endurance with many big wins that day, including yours truly, Joe Teat, Niles Anderson, and Eli Broward. So Mobley had qualified for the Arnold Classic, placing in the top four. He deserves to take at least the number 4 spot in the state of Ohio, just ahead of Calero behind Hudick. Although over a year ago he did defeat Hudick, this was back when he was 220, so it's kind of difficult to ascertain at 198 if he can beat an absolute peaked Joel Hudick, who just won the prestigious Michigan State and taken second at the Arnold Classic. But time will surely tell, and like I said in the 176 ranking, we really need to see them pull. In the 220, Shane Vazquez, the guy in the blue shirt in the middle table, is back in the right-hand category by pulling in the Masters at Kentucky Muscle. He had tough bouts, for sure, with Terry West, but once he trains in full force, like I've seen him in the past, his hand will be unlike any other in that category. In fact, I have seen him top roll and defeat the likes of Brandon Simpson a few years back in a PAF tournament. And this was fresh after Brandon won the Arnold in the 76-pounder. It was 2018, actually. So watch out, 220, left or right. Shane can be a deadly force. Last but not least, in the 220s, Billy Collins challenges Mike Sayer. Top roll and wrist versus side pressure to a best of 5 at the Onyx Health Club for rankings on the line. I mean, this was an absolute intense matchup of back and forth with who got the better angle in the straps. With all that said, Billy really came to show up that day, ended up pulling off the upset 3-2. So now we look at the rankings. We see Billy moving up 1 spot ahead of Sayer, now at number 8. And as far as Shane goes, we decided to put him at number 11 as kind of a baseline, since right is his non-dominant hand, and he's just kind of shaking off the rust. But looking forward to seeing how this class starts to shake up. Now on to the 242 right, we see Adam Martin has reactivated himself. He is at the very right table with his back towards us. He seems to have reactivated himself with a vengeance. He got several quality wins, but most impressively, he handled Mike West fairly convincingly. In light of Adam showing up with a sizable force from his press, he is now at number 3 until further challenges arise. In the 242 left, Adam Martin has reactivated himself as well. He had an incredibly tough draw. I mean, who would want to draw Scott Ballinger, right? Furthermore, a major highlight in the left. Are you ready for this? Chris Drummond annihilating most of his competition, including top 20 in North America. Jared Cook, not once, but twice, even in a hook where Cook is most strong. If that wasn't enough, look how Chris really kept Scott Ballinger on his toes. I cannot remember the last time that I saw Scott getting top rolled, especially in the lefty class. Chris would wind up with second place to Ballinger. Really outstandingly stellar performance on his part. So for a baseline, Adam Martin is going to be number 4, and in light of Drummond's impressively stellar performance, he is now at number 2 in the lefty in the state of Ohio. Here we are, guys, the men's supers right. The guy on the right here in the blue shirt, Jamie Baker, making a statement in this particular tournament, pulling off a stunning upset over Al Hill. He also had 2 additional wins in a very big bracket, which, you know, for a tournament like Kentucky Muscle, it's impressive to get 1 win, but 3 deserving of a lot of credit. So here we see Jamie Baker sitting at a well-earned number 15, just 1 above Travis Pickering. Now, we did see Travis pull at the Kentucky Muscle. He had technically 2 wins, Jamie had 3, but the issue with that is the bracketing was so wonky that Travis's 2 wins were to the same guy on the B side, which is impossible unless something was legitimately wrong. Depending on whom you beat, we try not to give too much stock to the placement of brackets, especially one that has a considerable number of entries. But in this case, we think that pinning 3 guys versus pinning 1 guy is kind of enough to triumph where they should be at this time. So with all that said, I think it would be an outstanding match to see between Jamie and Travis. The insanity in the supers does not stop at the right. Here in the lefties, Al Hill nearly pinning number 3 TJ Slayton with a commanding amount of hand and pronation control. TJ would then adjust and hook Al and end up defeating him in a real nail-biter. TJ would go on to take second to Austin Jaggers. Al's only losses were to TJ that day. We see the guy on the very left, on the left table, Peter Storrs, just dominating, just sweeping everybody. And the guy on the right table to the left side of us, showing off his pronating ability, James Cody Winland. He would move on to the finals with Peter coming out on top, placing first in the amateur division, James placing second. So the men's supers left welcomes Peter Storrs and James Winland to the mix, and in light of Al Hill's very impressive showing that day, we're safe to put him at number 5, as he also placed higher than Andrew Reese that day. Thank you all so much for your patience as well as your support. I'm very, very excited to see what the super matches on June 4th are going to hold. There's going to be a lot of Ohio ranking matchups, and I'm going to be making a prediction video for each of them. This is your arm wrestling underdog. Let's continue to beat those odds.